Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. Today we're going to talk about koi fish. You know, when you go to Asia, those are those sort of orange-looking, oversized goldfish that are in some of the waters and ponds, and you might find them indoor. If you happen to go into factories, you might find them, indoor inside a factory area. You might find them outside in a pond. You might find them, out by by some kind of apartment building. In fact, near my house here in Hanoi, there is a small park. And in that park, there's this big pond. And in that pond, there's a bunch of koi fish. And so, because the koi fish are considered to be a symbol of good luck. And so today I want to talk about the koi fish and some of their many different symbols that they have and why these fish are so important. One of the most recognizable features of the koi fish are their different colors, and in fact, they're bright colors. But what most people may not realize is that these colors all have meaning with them too. So if a koi fish is with a white body and red spots, that is supposed to be a fish that will help you with your career success. If a koi fish is yellow-red with white and black markings, that fish is supposed to help you find true love. If a koi fish is platinum or silver, the whole fish is platinum or silver, will help you find business success. If it is a bright with gold body, will help you find riches and financial success. If it's brown and gray color, that can mean like it's, fallen leaves, or it can symbolize autumn. If it's a white body with black spots, it may symbolize to help you to be able to better navigate life's challenges. And if a koi fish is red and white with a kind of like a red lipstick around its lips and its mouth, that will help you to ensure that you have long-lasting relationships. So even the fish themselves can all symbolize different types of things according to the color that the fish has. The koi fish are also known to be a symbol of what is known as tenacity or resilience. And the reason is because these koi fish are able to survive in a lot of extreme climates. They can handle being outside in the cold or they can even be outside in the deep winter when it's a lot of heat. The koi fish are known to be able to swim upstream, and they're such strong fish that they can even swim up on waterfalls. The natural trait of a koi fish is considered to be tenacity or resilience. The koi fish are also a symbol of courage. They're fish that will face the dangers head on. Many may feel that they've had this easy life because they're just sort of swimming around the pond. But the truth is that if any predatory wildlife comes, or they feel any threat comes to them, they will fight and face the danger head on. So they're known to be innovative, and when they see the danger, a lot of times the koi fish will swim to shallower waters to give them the fight advantage. So not only do they have a lot of courage, they're actually really quite smart fish. Koi fish are also known to be a symbol of wealth and abundance. And they're used a lot in Asia to symbolize this wealth and abundance. Many of the larger koi fish can be, pretty expensive. So if somebody has a lot of koi fish, there can be sort of like this, I guess, not so subtle symbol of like, I have money, I can afford all these fish, I can, maintain these fish. So that's why you'll find them a lot of times that they've, traditionally always been with emperors, state officials, and important houses and other places. Today we see them also in these places, including like a lot of parks, like I've mentioned before, and I've seen them in many factories. Manufacturers will have them a lot of times, outside of their factory. You'll see them in homes. You'll see them in like maybe important buildings and important places. And like for me, here in Hanoi, Vietnam, I see them in this park near my house. But right in front of that park is this very tall, sort of expensive building. So I believe that the people who built that building, they put the koi fish in the pond as kind of good luck that the building looks down upon this pond of koi fish. The koi fish are also a symbol to us of an independent spirit. There's really hard to find any two koi fish that are exactly alike. Each koi fish will have its own uniqueness. And this uniqueness helps to ensure that the koi fish are a symbol of unconformity, originality, and the independent spirit. So in other words, if you have a koi fish, it could symbolize to you that, you're an independent spirit. You beat with your own drum. You don't follow the path of others. You follow your own path in life because you're independent. You will find that koi fish is one of the tattoos that many people will have as a tattoo. And the reason is because it is also considered to be a symbol of luck. For centuries, it's been this symbol of luck and good fortune. And so that's one reason why a koi fish will be one of the more popular tattoos, because the people want to wear the symbol of luck or the symbol of good fortune on their body. It's believed that the koi fish and the fish symbol and even the tattoo, if you have the tattoo on, many people have the tattoo, they believe that the symbol of the koi fish on their body in a form of a tattoo will help to bring positive energy to wherever it is. And that's also another reason why people will have these koi fish, is because they believe this koi fish is a fish that brings them positive energy. Koi fish can also symbolize longevity. It's interesting to note here that some of the koi fish that are in Japan and have been bred in Japan, and they've been in optimal conditions, some of them can last over 100 years. The oldest reportedly living koi fish lived to be 226 years of age. I mean, that's huge. I don't know how they're able to calculate this. Do they tag the fish? How do they know that this was exactly the fish that lived to be this long, but somebody maybe had this fish somewhere? But it would live to be 225 years old. But, a lot of them that are not bred in Japan may only live to be 25 to 35 years. But still, they live to be quite a long time for a fish. I mean, if any rest of you are like me and you once had a goldfish and you put the goldfish in that bowl, and how long did the goldfish last? I mean, usually goldfish is just, at least in my house, didn't last very long. So, for a fish like this to last 25 to 30 years is quite a long time. Another thing that the koi fish are known to also symbolize is that they symbolize a community. One of the things about koi fish, when you see them a lot of times in a pond, they'll be gathered together where they look like they're almost like swimming on top of each other. They're swimming next to each other. They're kind of like they have this closeness of space that they're not afraid to have. And because of this, and because of the way they swim and the way that they can be very close together in their quarters. They all seem to swim together and enjoy each other, and there's no fighting or nothing else going on. That they seem to enjoy one another and be in close proximity. So that's why koi fish can also symbolize about the harmony of living in a community, the harmony of living together in a family, and the harmony of being together. Koi fish are known to bring about a positive, what we know as feng shui energy. And they're known to bring a positive flow and energy and serenity into your life when you have the koi fish in your life. So if you're someone that's, maybe looking to say, like, I want to have this positive energy, I want to have this positive flow in my life, then the koi fish may be the right fish for you. Koi fish originally come from Japan. And actually, the very original koi fish is they came from China, but it was the Japanese who bred them in order to have these, great and wonderful colors. And the koi fish is really, it's a carp. So many times you will find it referred to as a koi carp fish. In fact, the word koi in Japanese means carp. There's many varieties of this koi, and as we've talked about, there's many different colors and many different combinations of colors. But the ornamental Japanese koi carp, as we know them today, was introduced into Japan in the 1920s. And really it was the Japanese that really, started having these become part of becoming a decorative purpose for their homes. And they're usually kept in water gardens. And, even throughout the world, you can find koi fish in many decorative gardens. It's interesting to note that even in the United States, there are many, koi fish clubs. There are, koi fish people that are doing koi fish on Facebook. There are, people that are building koi fish ponds outside their houses. That, even in America, the keeping of koi fish has become quite a popular hobby, or, it's become quite a popular pet or fish to keep. And that's because the koi fish are an ideal fish for outdoor life, as they're cold water fish, so they can adapt to many different types of climate and water conditions. And this makes them an ideal domesticated fish, for a place like Japan, essentially, which, Japan can be cold and can have snow and other things. But, the koi fish are not just limited to Japan, that they're also found worldwide, especially in China and in other parts of Asia. And as I mentioned before, that even the United States, Europe, and other places have koi fish clubs, and they even have koi fish shows. And, this shows that this fish has become so popular, outside their borders of what was once just Japan, but they have been basically a Japanese cultural export that has gone throughout the world. The koi fish were first known to come to China about 2,500 years ago. The koi were popular with the rice farmers, as they could be kept in the rice ponds above the rice paddy fields and then eaten as a food source. So it was not until many centuries later that the Chinese introduced the koi fish to Japan. First the koi were eaten as a food source. And that's why the word koi, which means carp, is still used in Japan and still means carp. So, like koi could be used to mean a bunch of different fish, including a carp fish, what you would not necessarily have as a decoration purpose or as in a pond, but instead that not, it wouldn't be this brightly ornamental fish as we consider it today. In the early 19th century, Japanese farmers noticed color changes in some koi fish specimens. And so they started to breed more colorful koi fish as pets more than the food source. And so because of how beautiful the fish were, there's also many legends that have been surrounded the fish. So here you sort of essentially have this fish that was in China, food source or a carp, that would be eaten, that was transported or traded, in the early 19th century over to Japan. And then the Japanese farmers started using the koi fish also in their rice paddies. And then somehow these fish began to interbreed with maybe some Japanese fish or some other fish. And then they started noticing these bright colors. And then there you have these Japanese farmers who were saying like, oh, these are too beautiful fish to eat, that we need to basically, start to breed these fish so they can become decoration or become more of an ornamental fish. So that's why, because of, how beautiful these fish are, and one of the things that makes them such an important fish, not just in Japan or in China or in other parts of Asia, but actually worldwide, is because there's so many legends that are now surrounding these fish. And this is where it really gets interesting about these koi fish, is their legends. One legend speaks of how a renowned Chinese philosopher, Confucius, was given a black koi on his son's birth. According to the legend, all the kois with bright colors are descendants of the koi fish that Confucius was given. So, here's the koi fish that has a little bit of this religious tone to it, where they're saying that basically it came from Confucius directly, that it was given as a gift for when he was so proud when his son was born, and that, because of that, all these beautiful, bright colored fish then began to descend from that one Confucius black koi fish. Another tells a story of a Dragon's Gate waterfall at the Yellow River, that the koi fish are so strong that the fish can swim upriver and even swim up to the top of the waterfall. The koi fish that reach the top of the waterfall then become this powerful dragon. So there you have a legend where you have koi fish, that we know that koi fish are strong. We know that they can swim up waterfalls, and that when they swim up this very powerful waterfall, that they no longer become a fish, that they become a supernatural dragon. Another one is says that in Japanese culture is that the koi fish can actually conquer waterfalls. And this is because the Japanese believe that the koi fish to be as brave as the samurai warriors. So there you have, the koi fish, which are actually considered to be more like a samurai warrior, that they're considered to be as brave as the samurai warriors. As we've talked about before, that there's many things that these koi fish, symbolize in these Asian cultures, which make them such an important part of Asia, that you really cannot go to Asia without seeing some of these koi fish be an important part of the culture within Asia. I have to admit that it wasn't really until I started, writing some blogs and started doing some research that I really began to understand the symbolism of koi fish in Asia. I've gone into many factories here and I've seen them in parks and important buildings. And usually, maybe I'm like a lot of other foreigners where I might look down onto the pond and say, oh, what beautiful, big size goldfish they have here. And I always kind of thought of them as sort of like this oversized goldfish that's swimming around. And I didn't really pay that much attention to them, or I didn't really understand the whole, the symbolism that they had, the symbolism for things like, perseverance and strength and, good luck and fortune. And I knew, of course, having gone into enough factories here in Asia that, yeah, they had some symbol for fortune that the factory owners would build these ponds of these koi fish and they'd put them out there and they believed that it was, give them luck. And I understood, of course, about the Asians and their sort of feng shui and all about having things that make them have luck or feel like they have luck. But I really didn't understand the culture behind the koi fish and how important they were in so many cultures and all the legends that were surrounding them and all the different things that they would symbolize to the Asian culture and to the Asians. And I really didn't quite understand either that about the koi fish and the tattoos and how the tattoos for the koi fish were so important to them. What's interesting about the koi fish themselves is that the legends, what they symbolize, what they mean, and how they mean it can actually change from person to person and from culture to culture. And part of that is because at the end of the day, when you talk about koi fish, this fish really symbolizes everything that's good, that's great, and that's wonderful. The koi fish are and continue to be a significant symbol in the Japanese culture, the Chinese culture, even, here where I live in Vietnam, even the culture here in Vietnam, it continues to be this very important symbol of everything that's good. All the attributes that you yourself as a human being maybe want to try to have in life, whether it's, perseverance or courage or luck or fortune or true love, that all of those things that we as humans want to try to have, the koi fish symbolize that. And that's what really makes these koi fish such an important and such a unique fish for not just the Japanese culture and the Chinese culture, but really for all of Asia. Thank you so much for listening to the Dusty Roads podcast, which is all about living your life as a global citizen. Check out our blog, ABusOnADustyRoad.com. We'll put a link below in the description so that you can easily find it. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to hear us discuss, we'd certainly love to hear from you. Feel free to go to our contact page on our blog and to find out more about ways you can contact us. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that you will share this with your friends and also subscribe to our podcast.